Alright, so today I'm going to be disassembling a Tokyo Marui Spec AK-47, and as you can see, it is the underbarrel folding stock type, so it is going to be slightly different than if you had a full stock AK-47, but the differences are going to be marginal, and I will note whenever there is a difference there. I would also like to point out that yes, this is a Crosman R76. Please don't bash on that. This is just for demonstrational purposes only. I'm not a real big AK-47 user, but it is to Tokyo Marui Spec, so it is going to be the same as if you were disassembling any other Tokyo Marui Spec AK-47. So getting to the disassembly itself, all you need to disassemble this gun is a large Phillips head screwdriver and a small Phillips head screwdriver for the hop-up. And that is all you need to disassemble it. So on that note, let's get to the disassembly. Alright, so first thing you need to do when disassembling this gun is take out the battery. In the underfolding stock versions, the battery is going to be in this top compartment under this. With the full stock versions, the battery will be in the back, and you'll need to unplug it there, and there will be a filler tube in this part of the AK. So either way, remove this part and take out the battery, and we'll move so after the battery is removed, people who have the full stock version of the AK-47 are going to have two screws on the back of the stock, approximately in this position, and they'll have to unscrew those and then detach a wire extension that has a Tamiya connector on it to fully remove their stock. And after that, the disassembly is 100% the same as with the underfolding AK-47 like we have here. After that, the next step we are going to do is take this bar and we're going to push it forward and rotate it up so that it removes from this back button that holds in the top plate on the AK-47 that we removed earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we shall have removed this bar out of the back button on the AK, and this frees up the bolt assembly on the AK-47, and with this you can pull the bolt back, revealing the hop-up, and there's going to be a small screw right where my fingertip is, and you're going to unscrew that and remove the hop-up lever that you use to adjust the hop-up on your AK-47. So remember where and what orientation the hop-up was in whenever you removed it, and after you do that, you're going to flip the gun upright and remove this small screw on the top. This frees up this entire piece that holds on the bolt assembly and this plastic piece that is over top of the gearbox. And if you look closely, there are notches on the gun where it slides out of place and it just pops right off the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll move. So this top piece is now off of your AK-47, and as you can see, the whole bolt assembly comes off along with this top plastic piece, and it just slides right out. And this leaves your AK bare on the top, revealing the version 3 gearbox. Of course, yours is probably going to be metal, most likely, because the R76 uses a polymer gearbox, but that doesn't matter as far as disassembly goes, it's all going to be the same. If you have a underfolding stock, like I do, you're going to have the wires coming up and around here. They don't get in the way, they just slide right out with the gearbox, but that comes later. The next thing you're going to want to do with this gun to disassemble it is flip it on its bottom, and you'll see two sets of screws, one inside the magwell, two right here, and two outside the magwell. Both of these are bigger Phillips head screws, and you need to screw those out to separate the two receivers of the gun. So I'm going to go ahead and take the screws out, and once you have those magwell screws removed from your AK-47, you are now free to separate the barrel assembly from the gearbox assembly. And what you're going to do this is, with a fair amount of force, but not enough to damage your gun, you're going to put one hand on the front portion of the AK-47 and another hand on the back, and with this hand rotate slightly upward and pull, and that will separate right here, and you will get the barrel assembly on one side and the gearbox assembly on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so as you can see, you now have two halves of an AK-47. The first half contains the barrel assembly and the hop-up unit. First we're going to go over how to remove this hop-up unit, just in case you want to swap barrels. One thing, word of caution, is watch out for these nuts that the screws screw into on the magwell. They have a tendency to fall out. So as you can see, I went ahead and took mine out. They go here and on the same place on the opposite side. All you have to do to get the barrel out of this gun is remove the two screws at the base of the hop-up, here and here. Once you have those removed, you can go ahead and pull the barrel out. So I'm going to do that. Once those screws are undone on the hop-up and barrel just slide right out the back of the barrel assembly, and you are free to do work if that is what you are looking to get to on your AK. Looking at the other half of the gun here that we have, the only couple things left holding the gearbox in this gun is the selector switch here and the pistol grip. So we are going to go ahead and go over on how to remove those to get the gearbox. First we're going to start with removing the pistol grip, and all that you have to do that is remove this screw and give it a nice pull, and it slides right off the motor. And I'm going to do that. Now that you have the pistol grip off, you can see the exposed motor, and what I like to do to get the gearbox out is remove these two screws and unplug the motor so you can remove this motor assembly, and it makes getting the gearbox out of the gun much easier. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll move on to removing the selector switch, and we will have a version 3. For removing the selector switch, first you need to take a butter knife or thin object and remove this cap that covers the screw on the selector switch, and you are going to take your Phillips head screwdriver and remove this screw. Be careful when removing the screw, however, because there are pieces under the screw that are vital for the functioning of the gun, so don't lose track of them whenever you're removing the selector. Now you have the selector switch off, and as you can see, it is a free-floating piece and all of its components. And remember which orientation you had the selector switch in. I like to keep it on safe, just so I know how to put the gearbox back together in the gun. Okay, so now you have a free gearbox in the lower receiver, and all you're going to do is carefully work the gearbox up and out. Alright, so you finally have the version 3 gearbox out of the gun. Be sure to pay careful attention at the orientation of the selector switch gears. There's normally a gear here that has to be aligned, but I had to remove that to disassemble my R76 gearbox. Don't worry about it, just make sure it is in the same alignment whenever you put the gearbox back in the gun. And that is how you disassemble a Tokyo Marui Spec AK-47. So please rate, like, and subscribe. And until then, signing off.